Here's what I want to talk about, though. I want to talk about Philadelphia. I want to talk about the 76ers. So they're 2-11. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. Yeah, they've dealt with injuries. Yeah. But they get off to a hot start in this game. Okay, they get up, I think, somewhere around 19 points in this basketball game. They wound up losing by 17. So it's a 36-point swing. They're 2-11, and according to reports, Tyrese Maxey, regarded by most, including myself, as the second best player on the Philadelphia 76ers, called out Joel Embiid, or at least spoke to the team, was talking about how, and we have this is the article according to ESPN. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room from other players to the coaching staff. Okay. That is as damning as it gets, in my opinion, and I think the Philadelphia 76ers should trade Joel Embiid effective immediately. It's not just for this. It's an accumulation of things, some of them out of Embiid's control, some of them in his control. I'll explain it. So I have been, listen, I was on a boat by myself for a very, very, very long time on this take on the, I don't think Joel Embiid's that reliable, and I'm not sure you can win a championship with him as your best player take. I think I've been validated on that over and over and over because he is, again, as I've said over and over and over, the only league MVP in the history of the National Basketball Association to have at no point in his career been to a conference finals, much less an NBA finals. Stephen A. Smith has caught flack for saying this, and I disagree with him, but not for the reasons everybody else does. Stephen A. Smith has often called Kawhi Leonard, because of his extensive injury history and the fact that he is almost never available, as the worst superstar in the NBA and the worst superstar in sports, the least reliable one, certainly. Nah, Stephen A., you got the wrong guy. Kawhi maybe now. When Kawhi was at his peak, he wasn't. When Kawhi was winning championships with 2 franchises, winning 2 finals MVPs, going on incredible. Even when the Spurs or the Raptors, the Clippers weren't winning championships, Kawhi Leonard was balling every year in the playoffs, almost without fail, 2020 being the exception. Name the time that's happened with Joel Embiid, ever. Literally ever. This is the least reliable superstar that I have seen in the NBA. No question, even above Kawhi Leonard. So, as it just relates to injuries, we can go and show you the extensive history that he's had with that. He just misses a lot of games. He misses the entirety of his first 2 seasons. Then the following years, he's missed 51 games, 19, 18, 21, 21, 14, 16. And last year, Joel Embiid missed 43 games. And he is 30 years old at this stage of his career. But Embiid at 30 is, to put it mildly, not the same as Steph Curry at 30, as LeBron James at 30, as Giannis Antetokounmpo at 30, as Kevin Durant at 30. Not the same equivalency because of the size, because of the wear and tear on the body, and because of the injuries. We can talk about the fact that Joel Embiid consistently has been beat up throughout the course of his playoff career. 2018, orbital fracture and concussion. 2019, knee tendonitis and flu-like symptoms. No injuries in 2020, but that year the Sixers got swept out of the first round. 2021, he had a torn meniscus. 2022, he had a torn thumb, orbital fracture, and concussion. 2023, did a knee sprain. And this past playoff run, he had a lateral meniscus injury, and it has led to him being, and folks are joining my side of the table on this, although there's folks that still resist it, is that this is, if you want to take the 10 best players in the NBA, and Embiid certainly is in that category, do a draft. Who do you most want in a playoff game? Playoff series. Side your life. He's the last pick of those 10. Matter of fact, there's guys outside the top 10, numerous, that I'd take over Joel Embiid. Let's show his regular season stats relative to playoff stats. Oh, let's see. They all come down. Free throw percentage is about the same, but points per game down, rebounds down, assists down, field goal percentage is way down. 3-point percentage, quite a bit down as well. Free throw percentage, basically the same. He's not reliable. And according to Maxey, his own team, this is not a report. This isn't, Brian Windhorst or Shams or anybody coming out and saying sources close. No. The source, his teammate, Tyrese Maxey, in the meeting. I want to repeat what he said, or repeat what this article said on ESPN. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room from other players to the coaching staff. You have to move that guy. What evidence do we have in Philadelphia that this is the guy that can get you your first championships in the early 1980s and your first NBA Finals in 2 decades? Does this resemble Dr. J, Allen Iverson, Moses Malone, even a guy who didn't win, Charles Barkley, the greats of Sixers past? You could say Chuck, but again, because Chuck had issues at times with his weight, staying in shape, all those different things. But to a certain degree, he kind of remade himself to a certain degree, and he won an MVP in Phoenix. Folks, Joel's 30. Playoff availability. The fact that we are, this is in his, in total in his career, this is year 11. In terms of the years that he started playing, 2016 was his first game in the NBA. This is year 9. We're in year 9, and we're still talking about you being in shape. If Maya said it best, if someone shows you they are, to believe them the first time. If we are this far into Joel Embiid's career, and Tyrese Maxey, the young guy, who, by the way, has been far more reliable in the playoffs than Embiid has been, and far more available than he's been, if he's having to call you out still to this day about not being available, not being in shape, showing up late to team meetings, my gosh, folks, this is giving James Harden in Houston circa 2020. Remember when that report came out? I remember talking about it in my show way back in the day on Carving It Up. When Russell Westbrook was irritated. And Russell Westbrook and Harden are boys. They're really tight. And Westbrook was like, man, this guy's showing up late all the time. He's showing up late to flights. And this is really starting to remind me a lot of that. Embiid will absolutely still command a market. The man won an MVP 2 years ago and could have won multiple other than, aside from that. He can still be, in the regular season, a very dominant force on the interior. Who can shoot from the perimeter? Who can be a good rim protector? All of these different things. You are never sniffing a championship. The 3 biggest games Joel Embiid has ever played. Game 7, 2019, disappeared against Toronto. Game 7 against the Hawks, led by Trae Young and Kevin Huerter. Nothing against those guys, but come on. At home, by the way, came up small, lost. We blamed everybody in Philadelphia. By the way, in some cases, rightfully so. Ben Simmons, James Harden, Doc Rivers. At some point, when's it going to be on you, my man? At some point, when the Sixers aren't achieving what that we have been promised that they were going to achieve year after year after year. Some point, when does it fall on the best player in the MVP of the league 2 years ago? The face of the franchise. These are the burdens you got to bear. Basic things. Again, this is what has made LeBron and Steph so great. And Kevin Durant, like the 3 guys that have defined their generation of basketball. They are effing obsessed with being great, with being in the best shape they can be. Now, in their, they've gotten older. Yeah, they've dealt with injuries. But by and large, we need LeBron James, we need Steph Curry, we need Kevin Durant. They're going to be there for you physically. In the case of LeBron and Steph, they're going to lead you. You're going to get the best out of them when the money's on the line. Those are the guys you win championships with. You win championships. You got young guys in the league. Again, we got to see how these guys pan out long term. You're going to win with guys like Anthony Edwards, who loves basketball, is obsessed with it, and is doing everything that he can to put his team in position to be successful. When Joel Embiid is consistently not available and not 100% for the playoffs, folks are like, hey, Bryson, you got to give him a pass because he's always hurt. This is part of the reason why he's always hurt. He doesn't take care of his body. He doesn't care. He clearly values his own time over the time of his Philadelphia 76ers, teammates. When you are a Tyrese Maxey and you're a young guy, this is year 5 for Maxey, coming from the basketball powerhouse that is Kentucky and having the work ethic that is in you to be great. And then you see this guy who's even more talented than you are, not putting the necessary work in. Disheartening that's got to be, how much that piss you off. That's what Kobe Bryant got mad at Shaq for. At least Shaq delivered you 3 championships, won the league MVP, and is one of the most dominant players ever. Joel Embiid's got the capability to do that. He just doesn't really want to. Not to the level the greats do. Not to the level the all-time big men have wanted to. So I think that is one of the most damning reports about a superstar in the last decade that I've seen. I'm talking superstar as in like Top 10, no question. A lot of folks have him in the top 5. I do not believe Joel Embiid is one of the 5 best players in basketball. Can he be? Sure. I just don't think he wants to be. Not to well the guys that I consider our top 5 want to be. In this order, at least this is the order coming into the season. In this order, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Steph, LeBron. By the way, 2 of those guys are, one's about to be 40, one's about to be 37. There's levels to this, and it's why Joel Embiid will not reach that level. It's why he's the only MVP in league history to have never made a conference finals. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.